Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech.
So today, we're going to connect the dots on this whole AI boom. We're going to show you how a tech gold rush happening right now in digital chips is creating these huge, real-world shockwaves all across the globe. We'll trace this ripple effect through 5 key areas, from the hardware at the epicenter all the way to how it's changing our jobs and, well, our world.
All right, let's dive right in, because it really all starts with the hardware. I'm talking about the physical engines that are driving this entire revolution. And right now, there's one company that's sitting at the very, very heart of it all, Nvidia. And look, this isn't just some small incremental update we see every year. No way. Analysts are calling this a truly monumental leap, and it's all being driven by this just exponential increase in how complex these new systems are. And this right here, this shows you the sheer scale of that jump. I mean, just look at this. On the left, you've got the older systems, right? They were running on about 8 GPUs. Now look to the right, the new Blackwell architecture. It crams an absolutely incredible 72 GPUs into a single system.
Yeah, that is a 9-fold increase in complexity. And this really gets to the heart of the challenge, doesn't it? Think about it. When your most basic building block gets 9 times more complex, like overnight, the entire supply chain has to just scramble to keep up. We're talking everything from cabling to cooling to power. It's not just a change, it's a complete eruption of demand.
And this is where that first massive ripple really starts to spread out. You see, all that incredible new computing power, it creates this voracious, almost insatiable appetite for 2 things. Data, of course, but also raw electricity.
So what does that actually mean? It means this whole digital gold rush is completely dependent on a very, very physical thing. And the demand for energy is becoming so critical, so foundational, that it's literally changing how entire industries and their investors look at the market.
And this quote, man, it just captures that shift perfectly. For the last 100 years, right, oil was the strategic resource. It powered economies, it defined geopolitics. Well, a lot of analysts are now arguing that in the AI era, electricity is becoming the new oil.
You can actually see this shift happening in real time right here on this chart. Get this. The most surprising winner of the AI gold rush, it isn't some hot tech company. It's your local power plant. I mean, look at that bar. The utility sector is up over 40%, just soaring past most of the S&P 500. And the reason is simple. Every single one of these new AI data centers needs a massive, dedicated power source parked right next to it.
This demand for power is so intense, it's actually transforming entire business models. Just take a look at Bitcoin miners. Their whole business was built around one thing, getting access to cheap electricity. Now they're realizing that their access to power is actually more valuable than the mining itself. So what are they doing? They're pivoting. They're converting their facilities into AI data centers because they hold the most critical asset of all, that connection to the grid.
Okay, and this is where the ripples start getting even bigger. Because when resources like computer chips and electricity become this valuable, well, they inevitably become central to global politics. The AI boom, it's not just a tech story anymore. It's a full-blown geopolitical saga.
So on one side of this new great game, you've got the United States. Its key advantage? Its sheer dominance in high-end AI chip design. We're talking companies like Nvidia, of course. And the US is using this advantage as leverage, restricting China's access to its most powerful tech, basically trying to slow down their progress in AI.
And then on the other side, you have China's strategic countermove. You see, China controls the processing for most of the world's rare earth minerals. And those are absolutely essential for, well, pretty much all modern electronics, from your smartphone to those very same AI chips. So China is now using that control as a pretty powerful bargaining chip in response.
And this table really lays out the new battlefield. For the US, the key asset is that advanced AI chip design. The strategy is something called ally shoring, which just means moving manufacturing to friendly nations. But the big challenge? That deep dependence on global supply chains. Now, for China, the key asset is control over those rare earth minerals. Their strategy is to build out their own domestic supply chain, but their challenge is getting their hands on those cutting-edge chips. It's basically a new kind of tech Cold War, and it's all defined by this really deep, really complicated interdependence.
But this whole global struggle, it isn't just happening between governments. Nope. Those ripples are now crashing into specific industries, reshaping jobs and business models from the ground up. And we're going to start with one of the most traditional industries out there, finance.
So deep inside OpenAI, there's a secretive initiative called Project Mercury. And what they're reportedly doing is hiring former investment bankers, but not to do deals. They're hiring them to teach an AI how to do all the so-called grunt work of finance. You know, the repetitive, data-heavy stuff that junior analysts on Wall Street spend like 80 to 100 hours a week grinding through.
And this right here kind of breaks down that whole workflow. It starts with just hours and hours of data gathering, scouring research, pulling comps, which is just data on similar companies. Then it's off to building these super complex Excel models. And finally, turning all of that into PowerPoint slides, often just to wait around for some tiny font-level feedback from a manager. The whole point of Project Mercury is to automate that entire cycle. Now, that could free up junior bankers to do more strategic work, for sure, but it also signals a massive shift in the kind of skills you'll need for a career on Wall Street.
And hey, it's not just white-collar office jobs getting a shakeup. This new way of thinking, this AI and data-driven mindset, it's also totally reshaping our relationship with big physical things we own, like our cars.
So you have companies like Turo, and they're thinking way bigger than just renting you a car for your vacation. They see that $100 billion rental market, sure, but what they're really targeting is the massive $1 trillion car ownership market. The bet they're making is that in the future, people are going to want access to a car when they need it, not the massive cost and commitment of actually owning one.
Okay, so let's recap. We've followed this ripple from a single hyper-complex computer chip all the way to the power grid, to the global political stage, and then right down to Wall Street and the car in your driveway. I mean, the stakes just couldn't be higher, and the opportunity couldn't be bigger.
And that's exactly why you hear these just incredible statements from market experts. It's because AI is seen as a fundamental engine for economic growth. It's a technology that is so powerful, with such an immense ability to boost GDP, that many people believe this is the single greatest opportunity for innovation and investment we will see in our lifetime, period.
So the AI ripple effect is already redrawing the map of energy, of global power, of entire industries. It is a force of change on a scale that, honestly, we're only just beginning to wrap our heads around. And that really just leaves us with one big question. What will it reshape next? If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.